look at apples. I mean, these are the most basic thing, right? But again, it's always amazing to me how people get confused about them. Now, apples are great because they're not the same. I know that sounds obvious, but you can have an apple like this one, which is like a golden crisp. You can have a golden delicious. This is kind of a tart crisp apple. This is a very, very sweet apple. You can have like a little Macintosh. Oops, that one's obviously quite organic. Or you can have a Braeburn. And the Braeburns are, they're actually my favourite cooking apple. They're really tart, but with a sweet edge to them. And Macs are great for pies. Basically, if you want to cook with less sugar and you want to make something with apples, use a sweet apple like a Golden Delicious. That way you don't need to add any sugar to it whatsoever. You see my favourite Braeburn. I'm just going to show you how to cut an apple. So first I'm going to peel it. Just get it in a nice, just keep turning it. Get a nice ribbon of peel. Okay, and then cut it into quarters. Now what I always used to do was try and get this little core out, but actually you don't need to. Just cut it straight down like that. And the good thing about this, let's get this little bit of skin off. The good thing about this is that when you actually come to cut the apple, it's not moving. So there you go. So you have like these perfect apple quarters now that you can very easily slice. Now we're going to slice these up for applesauce. So just see how it works having that flat surface. Just put them across into little half moons. We cut up a whole lot more apples for this. You can't make applesauce with one apple. So I think we got about 2 pounds here that will go in here. Now this is all going to cook down. You don't really want to put too much water in with it because the apples are full of water themselves. So you literally just want to put a tablespoon or so in there. So I'm just going to put in 3 of these. 3 teaspoons make a tablespoon. And that is going to give it enough water to get the steam going and to actually cook it. Just going to top up with a little bit more sugar. 2 tablespoons in the whole thing. Little pinch of cinnamon. And then I'm going to put the lid on. And we're going to cook it at a medium to low heat so that the water that's in the bottom of that little couple of tablespoons of water is going to boil, it's going to make steam, and all the juice is going to come out of the apples, and the sugar will also melt into it. So it's going to be very, very, very sweet and tasty. Applesauce is a fantastic standby to have when you're feeling nauseous, when you're just feeling queasy. It's a really great thing to have around, and so it's really worth making a batch. You can keep it in the fridge for up to a week actually, and but I find it never lasts that long when I make it because I just end up eating it for my breakfast every day. It's a very good thing to have, and it's also great on a bland diet because it allows you to eat apples because the peel can irritate your GI system, and this way you can get the fruit and get all the goodness out of the fruit but without any of the irritation. Now we have our applesauce, it's cooked. So all of those apples, you saw they were filled right up to the top, they've shrunk down. And because we use different types of apples in here, some of them have gone very soft like so, and others have remained a bit chunky. You can kind of mash it down with your spoon if you like. But you can see that we didn't put a lot of water in there. It's like a couple of tablespoons, and look how much juice these have made. It smells divine actually. It's all that cinnamon. But just when it's done, just move it around and just smash the remaining bits of apple down. I mean, it's nice to have it kind of chunky anyway. I prefer chunky applesauce rather than the thin puree. But this is it, and I mean, it's one of the most useful things that you can ever have, and most delicious, and one of the simplest. So there you go guys, applesauce.